Kanye, pay attention. Kanye brought this up. Kanye, I'm gonna play a clip of what Kanye said because we need to listen to what this man said instead of just reacting like, oh my God, the nerve of you sitting down with Trump. Ain't no wrong with sitting down with Trump. Ain't nothing wrong with sitting down and having a meeting with Trump. You should meet with every president. In fact, Trump, you could probably get more out of Trump than you could get out of Obama. And let me tell you why. Trump is dying to somehow do something, put some money into something that is going to make him look better to black people. So Trump needs black people to like him so he can get enough votes to get reelected. Obama knew he didn't need y'all's asses. Obama, do you know how hard it was for us to negotiate with the Obama administration back when Russell Simmons and I wrote that letter to ask the administration to address the mass incarceration crisis? Do you know how hard it was? Do you know how they ignored us? They bringing in gay people into the White House, Native Americans getting up billions of dollars. They bringing in Latinos, trying to get the immigrant babies into the country illegally and shit. And they won't even sit down and talk to an African American. They ignored African Americans.
Not Obama.
You know why? Because they were like, we got them in our pocket. What do we need them for? We don't need to do anything for black people. So
some more tea.
My thing on this is that when Kanye says, you know, that 8 years, Obama was in office for 8 years and nothing changed in Chicago, he's right. And that is a perfect point. Obama lives right there in Chicago, in the heart of the South Side. The heart of the South Side. And your ass doing more for gay people who live across the country and immigrant kids across the world than you doing for your own people who love you more than anybody.
What?
So, you know, let me play Kanye's clip. I'm going to pull this up. While I pull this up, do this. If you want to, just so you know, to help us fund better projects, we actually opened up a Patreon account for the channel. It's at intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. So one of the perks of being a Patreon is that we're going to invite you to the IRS. IRS stands for Intelligent Rap Sessions. So these are private conversations where I'll bring you into a private session where we'll talk back and forth in a small group setting about various issues. So if you want to be a patron of the Dr. Boyce YouTube channel, which, as you know, we do things different from everybody else. We're not trying to be like mainstream media. Feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. So let me play Kanye's rant.
I will post the links
so
for
we
you.
can kind of hear this. While I do this, hit the share button, subscribe button, and all that stuff. And we're going to analyze. We're going to go through what he said. We're not just going to write off, what he said just because he's sitting down with Trump. You don't do that. You don't do that. The Democrats are encouraging you to do that so that you don't engage in critical thinking. They don't want black people engaged in critical thinking because they're used to you being just religious and spiritual and emotional and not sitting there and playing chess. They got your ass playing checkers and hopscotch up in this bitch, and your ass need to be playing chess because they
Monopoly.
Are playing you and screwing you every chance they get. So anyway, let me move in. This ain't got nothing to do with whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Now, make sure I'm clear about that. I don't care who you vote for. You know why I don't care who you vote for? Because the shit don't matter.
Shut the door.
Matter. It really doesn't. When it comes to the goals that I have for black people, building our own schools, educating our own kids, creating our own businesses, supporting black businesses, ain't no Democrats or Republicans helping with none of that.
What?
None of that. So
say that.
I don't care who you vote for. So the same way Trump has his America First policy, you might as well call me Boyce Trump because my policy is black people first. I am black people first, period. So I don't care who you voted for. You telling me who you voted for is like you telling me what color pants you wore this morning. I don't give a shit.
You better say that, Dr. Boyce.
Long pants, shorts, t-shirt, overalls. I don't give a fuck what you wore today. That has nothing to do with what matters. So I need you to understand
say
this.
that,
Vote
Dr.
if you
Boyce.
want to. Stay home if you want to. But at the end of the day, who you vote for and whether you vote does not matter to me. I'm not going to say anything to you about that. So anyway, let's play Kanye's rant. It's kind of long. He got a lot to say, but we're going to go ahead and hear the brother out because I want you guys, and I'm going to pause it at points where there's a point to be made about his commentary. And this is something that you're not going to see anywhere in media because they don't want black people critically thinking. CNN doesn't want you engaged in critical thought.
That's all I'm saying.
MSNBC doesn't want you engaged in critical thought. So
give it to us, Dr. Boyce.
Override, just sort of go through the rant real quick. Like, here he is just ranting. He's just yelling. He's just ranting. Well,
that's all I see.
What is he saying? Let me hear what this man has to say. So let's play it. Here we go. Now again, this is all said with full knowledge that we know Kanye a little crazy. So let's not forget that.
That's all
party.
I'm saying.
All right, so here we go. I got the video right here. I'm gonna play this video, and I want us to listen to what he has to say. Pay attention. Black, you have to be Democrat. I have a Okay. First thing he said, you probably didn't catch that, but he said there's a false belief that if you're black, you have to be a Democrat. You catch that? That's the first thing that he said. That's the first gem he dropped. That if you're black, you have to be a Democrat. We must let that go. Being black is not the same as being Democrat. That's not good for the community. You're not going to win that way. Let's keep going.
I've had conversations that basically said that welfare is the reason why a lot of black people end up being Democrat. They say, first of all, it's a limit to amount of jobs. So the fathers lose the jobs and they say, we'll give you more money for having more kids in your home. And then we got rid of the mental health institutes in the 80s and the 90s.
Now let's pause it right there. What did he say about the welfare stuff? The Democrats want you on welfare because that will keep you dependent upon them. That's why Democrats don't like people like me, because I look them straight in the eye and I say, black people, we are just as smart as you. We're just as strong as you. We're just as capable as you. If you can run the institution, so can we. If you can build it, so can we. We don't want you to give us a job. We maybe want a loan so we can go build a corporation, but really, we barely even need that part. But if you really want our support, then help us figure out how we can build these businesses and create our own jobs and develop Africa Town or African American Town or whatever, Black Town, whatever you want to call it, the same way you're supporting Chinatown and in the area where the Latinos live and everything else. We want our own stuff. And welfare, the welfare state, the creation and the support and the maintenance of the welfare state has been one of the most destructive forces in the history of this country.
Right, because I can't get none.
The thing that has harmed more black people and more black families than damn near anything else. Doesn't mean welfare isn't helpful. Doesn't mean welfare can't be a step up. My mother was a 17-year-old single mom when she gave birth to me. We were on welfare. We lived in the projects. So we needed that money. She needed that civil like to feed little baby boys. But I will tell you this, she didn't want to stay there. And she is adamant about the fact that if it had been easy for her to stay there, it would have been difficult to gain the motivation to improve her situation. So the welfare state, especially the way they want to keep the fathers out of the home, is also deeply reflective and connected to the fact that the liberals in general have a very anti-male agenda as it stands right now. The Me Too movement is one of the most persecutorial and harmful anti-male agendas that I've ever seen in my life. The only men who get by in the Me Too movement are the gay men. The straight heterosexual men are pretty much defined to be sexual predators until proven otherwise. The idea that a feminist can accuse you of a crime with no evidence whatsoever and get you sent to prison for the next 50 years should scare the living shit out of anybody who has a black male in their household, because black men are going to get it the worst. So Kanye makes a point later on, he's going to talk about this in a second, where he was talking about how Hillary's campaign, I'm with her, and the Democratic agenda, the liberal agenda is very feminine. He didn't feel like he had a place as a man. And I said, I actually relate to that, because as a man, I am literally afraid of the Democrat liberal agenda, because I know a lot of my brothers are going to get sent away to prison, and they're not going to care when your little son gets sent away to prison because a white girl accused him of rape on a college campus. He gets sent away to prison and is getting raped every single day for the next 20 years. They will not care about that. So anyway, let me keep going. Let me play more Kanye's clip so we can kind of keep talking about it. Here we go.
90s, and the prison rates just shot up, and now you have Chirac, what people call Chirac, which is actually our murder rate is going down by 20% every year. I just talked to the superintendent, met with Michael Sachs, that's Ron's right-hand man. So I think it's the bravery that helps you beat this game called life. They tried to scare me to not wear this hat, my own friends, but this hat, it gives me power in a way. My dad and my mom separated, so I didn't have a lot of male energy in my home. And also, I'm married to a family that, not a lot of male energy going on. It's beautiful, though. But there's times where, it's something about, I love Hillary, I love everyone, right? But the campaign, I'm with her, just didn't make me feel as a guy that didn't get to see my dad all the time, like a guy that could catch with his Superman. You made a Superman. That's my favorite superhero. And you made a...
Now, okay, so what he's talking about here, this whole part about the hat making you feel like Superman, I don't get that. I don't know why a MAGA hat would make you feel like Superman. Wearing a Black Power hat would make me feel like Superman, but
facts.
To each his own. I thought that was the weird Kanye talking. But the rational, intelligent Kanye, his point about the feminine energy within the Democrat liberal establishment is very, very real. There's very little space in the Democratic Party right now for men of any background, and black men are pretty much labeled as super predators. Just like Hillary Clinton said 20 years ago, we're seen as super predators. That's why you got guys like Quintez Cephas up at the University of Wisconsin, who's facing a rape charge after two white girls invited him in for a threesome and then claimed that he raped them after they got high and drunk, when really all the evidence shows that did not happen. So ultimately, I think that he's making a good point with that. I think that and that's his preference, right? The idea that people tried to scare him, like he said, people tried to scare me to not wear this hat or scare me to not support Trump. That's a problem. That's a real problem. Why would you intimidate someone? I mean, seriously, if you really believe in black people having freedom, right? If you really believe that black people should be free, why would you try to intimidate a black person who's trying to exercise their freedom? Right? So ultimately, what I think that we got to sort of understand is that the Democratic Party, they're not your supporters. They are your motherfucking pimps. They are your pimps. They are not your supporters. They are not your partners. They are not your backers. They are not the people that are going to give you anything that elevates you to where you want to get to. They are your pimps. So when a black person steps out and says, I don't really want to do this. I want to do something different. They come, they're like, ho, where are you going, bitch? Your bitch chose me. Get back here, ho. Right? These are
Dr. Boys.
People, right? And I think that if you're going to give Kanye credit for anything, give him credit for not letting anybody own him. Again, this is all said with the understanding that who you vote for really doesn't matter when it comes to achieving the goals that we have as a community. There's nothing in the Democratic agenda right now that will help you to achieve the goals that I've mentioned to you when it comes to black people. I told you, we always talk about the black core of three, right? Educate our own kids, create our own jobs, support black businesses. Show me any parts of the Democratic agenda that are the prominent parts of the agenda that relate to any of those three things. They don't.
Y'all know what I meant,
David. By creating our own schools and our own school systems, they want you to sit here and believe in this horrible public school, which ain't nothing but a prison on training wheels, that's sending out droves and droves, hundreds of thousands of black kids that can't even read. A school to prison pipeline that they refuse to deal with. They would rather support the teachers' labor union than to support the actual children. So they don't care. They don't care anything about you educating your own kids. They're never going to help you do that. Creating your own jobs. They don't want. Why would they want you to create your own jobs?
Why?
Because then they would lose their employees. They want you to come work for them. They're like, hey, come work for me, nigga. I can take care of you, nigga. I can make sure that I can protect you from the Republicans. It's like a gangster. A gangster does that, right? When the mafia does a shakedown, they go to the store owners who don't have any protection, who are very vulnerable, and they basically say to them, they say, look, pay us for protection. We'll protect you from the other gangs. We'll keep you from getting robbed. And then if you don't pay the protection, then they'll come and they'll actually rob you. They'll be the ones who
only to the thinkers.
Right? So the Democratic Party does the same thing. They come to your church, and first thing they do when they come to your church, pay attention. Listen to the radio ads that the Democrats start running every time it's time to get an election. They ignore you for 3-4 years straight. Then they show up when it's time to get your vote, almost like a horny frat boy on a Friday night trying to get a piece of ass. That's what they do. Suddenly the guy that's like calling you out of the blue and you ain't heard from him in like 4 weeks, right? So that's what they do. They're showing up, trying to get your vote. First thing they do is they fearmonger. First thing they do is they don't tell you anything about what they've done for the black community that's anything of substance. Everything they give you that they've done is usually symbolism. It's like, well, we named this street after Rosa Parks. We had so and so to the White House and they had a concert, right? It's very symbolic stuff. But typically they won't even do that. What they'll usually do is do what actually works, which is they will tell you how horrible the Republicans are and how racist they are and everything else. One thing Kanye brought up that I really
please
love,
speak on it, Dr.
He
Boyce.
said that I'm not gonna let you control me by making me fear racism. He said, I'm not going to let you control me with that.
Okay, that was
I
the point.
actually agree with that. I said, that's a good point. Because you know what? Here's the thing about life that we never learn because we're not trained to be competitive. Black people are trained to be passive and dependent. We never learn that usually when you're in a competition, the other side never likes you. You know, Asian people say horrible things about Latinos. Latinos say horrible things about Jews. Jews say horrible things about everybody else. Whatever it is, they might say horrible things about Arabs. Arabs say horrible things about Nigerians. Whatever. Everybody knows. Everybody got so. You probably say horrible things about white people all the time. Raise your hand if you've ever sat around a table with your black friends and been like, "Them damn crackers, or that damn crazy ass white woman, or you got those white people next door. You need to stay away from those white people, right?" Now, I need to ask you this. Now pay attention now. Pay attention. We are trained, we are triggered, we are trained to overreact and spend our whole lives reacting to what white people say about us. We look, oh, no, they didn't. No, they didn't say that about us, right? We're trained to do that. Now, I need you to ask this. Reverse it. You sitting around the coffee table every night talking all kinds of shit about white people. I know y'all. I've been at some of y'all coffee tables. Now, ask yourself this. Do you think that they're spending 1 second worried about what you said about them? Do you think that they're spending 1 second concerned about anything that you have to say about them? Do you think that you could ruin their whole day, throw off their whole life, distract them, put them in an insane asylum, drive them crazy, and cause them to fall off their mission by calling them a cracker? If you walked up to a white man, a wealthy white man who owned you, who owned your job, owned the company, and you said, "You's a dirty cracker," do you think that he's going to cry and say, "My self-esteem was ruined and it was so terrible. I feel like I'm not wanted here. White lives matter." No, he's not going to do that.
What?
He's going to laugh at you.
Dr. Boyce is
like,
killing me right now.
Right? And then if you have something that he needs, he'll still probably do business with you too. Right?
Facts.
That's how people do business
Big
in a
facts.
competitive environment. You know that the people that you're competing with probably say shit about you when you're not around that you're never going to hear.
Facts.
Stuff that's probably unflattering. But the difference is that if they respect you, if they know that you have power, they ain't going to say that shit to your face. So
Facts.
seriously, I've been a boss. I've had people work for me. I know I can have a meeting with somebody, and I know that after this meeting, after I've checked your ass, after I said something to you, like, no, we're not doing it like this anymore. No, we're not. This ain't gonna happen.
That sounds very
I
familiar.
know that as soon as I walk away, you gonna say all kinds of shit, but you better mumble when you say it. You better say it when I'm not around.
Facts.
Right? And because at the end of the
Facts.
day, I've got power, and that's what matters. What matters is power. That's why powernomics is so important. Things like that. You got to understand power. The Democrats are not designed to give you power. Again, I'm not holding it against you if you're a Democrat. I'm not holding it against you if you're a Republican. I want to ask you this, though. The more important question is, do you put black people first? Or do you put your party affiliation first? Which labels do you matter to you the most? Did they, if they gave you an LGBT label, do you put that first, or do you put your blackness first? If they gave you an immigrant label, do you put that first, or do you put your blackness first? A lot of black immigrants don't like black people. A lot of black immigrants do not like African Americans. The movie Black Panther was a perfect example of the difference in thinking and the perspective between Africans and African Americans. That many of them look at you as motherless little bastards. That's how they see you. They see you as little terrible people who have gone through some shit, but you are a terror to the rest of the world. That's how people see you. Just being real. They come to America, and the first thing they're told is stay away from those people over there. If you have another label, if your label is feminist, if you believe in equality for women, which is very, very important, we all agree on that. Which comes first, your label as a feminist or your love for the black community? That's what matters. Are you black first? If you're black first, then I can understand you. If you're not black first, then that means you've been pretty much hijacked and kidnapped and sort of sucked into a fight that really doesn't belong to you. A fight where you're not a true stakeholder in any of that. A fight where they really truly don't care much about what happens to your family. They don't care. I'll ask you this question as well. This is a really hard question to answer, but I need you to answer this question for me. Can you love the black community and also support Donald Trump? Can you? Is that possible? Is it possible that there are black people out here who say, yeah, I don't like Obama, but I don't like Hillary, but I voted for Trump, but I'm a black person, I love black people. Is that possible? Is it possible for you to say, I love black people, but I'm a Republican? Is it possible for you to say, I love black people, but I happen to be conservative? If yes, I agree with you. If no, then why not? Why is it not possible? Because the truth is, black people are actually very conservative as a community. We got sucked into the liberal stuff and all the baggage that came with it, because the liberals were the only ones who didn't treat us like shit. They were the only ones who wouldn't lynch us as fast as the conservatives did. But believe me, a lot of the people that are predecessors to the Democratic Party, they did lynch black people. Go look at your history books.
Ooh.
When black people came north from the plantations, there were black people being lynched and murdered and killed in the northern states. Why? Well, because they were trying to compete with them for jobs. So the word competition is the key, the operative term here. That's the operative term. When you start competing, none of them like your ass. None of them like your ass. So
speak on it, Dr. Boyce.
To remain uncompetitive. That's Democrat and conservative ideology. The conservatives just want to compete with you. They just want to beat you. They just want to take what you got, and they want to get ahead of you. They want to be smarter than you. They want to have more resources than you. That's just a fight. You just gonna have to have that fight. You gonna have to fight it out. Like some of y'all are beating the conservatives because you got your kids going to school, studying hard, learning how to run businesses, learning how to hustle, learning how to compete. So some of your children are going to do just fine. Many of you are doing just fine because your hustle is you know how to compete. The liberals are a little different. The liberals kind of coax you in. They kind of suck you in and kind of say, and present themselves as an ally, and then they slowly subjugate you to the back of the bus. They slowly but surely ensure that you kind of, like, it's like, okay, we're teammates, but I need you to sit in the back, and I don't really need you competing with me, because we have to understand this is a hierarchy. We're a family. I'm the big brother. You're the little brother. We're the leaders. You're the followers. We are at the front of the bus. You're at the back of the bus. That's what you're getting with the liberals. It's a very subtle kind of racism that's a little different from the blatant fight that you have with the conservatives. And what I'm trying to tell you is something that you probably never heard before, maybe haven't heard that much, is to let that racism part go, because it's not that important. It only matters when you're talking about broad systemic issues, maybe in the criminal justice system. Yeah, okay. It has to be addressed. But the idea that you should get upset because Donald Trump said, he doesn't like Colin Kaepernick or the NFL players, I don't care about that part. That part doesn't matter to me that much. I don't really care. He just disagrees with me. Or the idea that you're upset because you've been convinced by the liberals that because Donald Trump doesn't want little Paco from El Salvador and his mama to sneak across the border, that's somehow racist. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not an illegal immigrant. Most African Americans I know are not trying to get across the Rio Grande to break into the country. Most African Americans I know do not benefit when illegal immigration or illegal immigrants come into the country. Most African Americans I know are not winning. Immigration, if you listen to people like Dr. Claude Anderson, he will explain to you that immigration was used as a policy to water down the influence of African American people. Immigration was used as a way to flood the country with so many Hispanics that your vote's not going to count. If you believe in reciprocity, then you will say, okay, well, we'll do for y'all, but y'all need to do for us. But I need you to point to me, show me any coalitions of people from south of the border who are really down for black people, who are really with you when you fight for reparations, who are really out there with you when you're dealing with the wealth gap and dealing with the unemployment gap and dealing with all of that. They're not standing with you. And the reason they're not standing with you is because they're competing. They're competing for resources like every normal person should do. So black people, we lose because we do not compete. Before I move on, do this. Make sure you hit the share button, subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, take 1 second, please. Hit the thumbs up button. Share this conversation with other people. And I'm actually going to talk about what T.I. said, because T.I. is my favorite rapper. And I want to sort of flesh through some of what he said. I'm going to play a little bit more of what Kanye said as well. Also, if you want to subscribe to the channel as a Patreon, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's where we have our IRS, which is intelligent rap sessions. We got private conversations about big issues where you talk to me, I talk to you, and stuff like that. That's one of the many things you can get. So feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. And also, if you want to connect with me via text message, you can text the word BOYCE to 31996. Text BOYCE to 31996. Now, here's what T.I. said. T.I. said,
I'm going to pause it right there because I just want to say I've been sleeping on Dr. Boyce. Like, for real. I mean, I'm very aware of who he is and whatnot, but I really been sleeping on a lot of the programs that he really has going on. I missed I think I was at work or something, something to where, like, when he came and I really did want to go see him, but I don't know if I had an event or if I was at work, but something happened to where I didn't get a chance to go see him when he came to town, um, and spoke, and I was really disheartened because I couldn't go see him, and to now hear him speak on this, I've really been. I won't even say sleeping on. I mean, I've definitely been sleeping on Dr. Boyce, but everything in God's time for sure, and everything falls together when it's supposed to. So I've definitely known of Dr. Boyce for a while, and I do, hear snippets and things like that here and there. But I really been like after hearing this, like I'm definitely gonna get a lot more involved. One, because with this new podcast, I'm doing some different and new things with it, and two, because Dr. Boyce is just, he's preaching right now. Like, this is a lot of really good information, and just take some of this stuff into perspective, and just, ask yourself these questions, and just kind of, process this for yourself, and, see where you fall. That's all I'm gonna say. Now back to what T.I. said.
He said, "Now, I've been extremely patient and made it a point to not jump into any premature conclusions about Ye and his antics, partially due to the lessons learned from the outcome of other similar situations dealing with my brother Wayne," talking about Lil Wayne. And he did a good job of dealing with Lil Wayne. I actually respected what he said. He said, which I admittedly mishandled a bit in hindsight. But now this shit is next level, futuristic, Sambo hopping, Bob Steven off Django ass shit. From what I can gather, this is the most repulsive, disgraceful, embarrassing act of desperation and auctioning off one's soul to gain power that I've ever seen. Now, I recall you asking me to come with you to have this meeting, and I declined naturally. But, bro, if it ain't time, I would have been there in there with you, and you behaved that spinelessly in my presence. I feel like I'd be compelled to slap the fuck out of you, bro, for the people. Yo ass kissing and bootlicking on a whole new level. And I refuse to associate myself with something so vile, weak, inconsiderate, to the effect that it has on the greater good of all of our people. I'm a true believer, and it ain't what you do, it's how you do it, and this shit is regurgitating. At one time, it was a pleasure to work alongside you. Now I'm ashamed to have ever been associated with you. To all the people who follow Ye musically, socially, or even personally, who are confused, heartbroken, infuriated, let me make this clear. This shit ain't cool. This is a move Ye made for Ye. This is a play to put him in a position he'd like to see himself in. We are not on his mind as he makes these comments and decisions. Don't follow this puppet. There's more that he says, but let me just say this too. I think that what T.I. has to be careful about is that if you're too aligned with the Democratic Party, then you also, brother, end up looking like a puppet. I'm not saying you are a puppet, but the truth of the matter is that, when they are causing civil wars, when they're doing this divide and conquer, where they're taking black people and saying, almost like a football team, we're gonna put 10 Negroes on this side, 10 Negroes on that side. You ain't doing nothing but having the plantation slave fights, where basically for white people's entertainment and white people's benefit economically and otherwise, you got black people trying to go at each other, right? So you're going at him for what? Like, what is it that you're going at him for? Are you going at him because he's sitting next to Trump? Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I would probably end up going at a lot of people, and T.I. included, for sitting next to Obama. Not because I think Obama is inherently a bad person, but because actually Obama is a very intelligent man. Obama understood that because black people are so primitive in our political thinking, we are the people that will do everything for you and ask for nothing in return. So if T.I. was sitting next to Barack Obama, I would probably say, okay, what are y'all actually getting done other than making this a photo op? If you're making this a photo op, then there's nothing to see here. There's nothing happening here that's going to benefit anybody, right? But if you are putting pressure on him to say, look, if you want to take a sorry, so if you're putting pressure on him and saying, look, if you want to take this picture with me, then you have to do X, Y, Z for the people. I can respect that, and I think that that's the issue. I think that across the board, we don't have black people and black prominent people who have backbone when it comes to dealing with all of these politicians. Right? The way you deal with the Republicans must be the same way you deal with the liberals, because none of them are your friends. So what I'm seeing right now, unfortunately, I don't even know if T.I.'s involved in this. I know people, some people on Instagram are claiming that T.I.'s part of these get out the vote campaigns that the Democrats love to run to get black people to support them for no reason. And I'm not gonna say that that T.I. Let me see if I'm reconnecting. I lost you guys on Instagram. I don't know if T.I.'s connected to any of that. I don't know where T.I. sits in all of that. I know I follow him and I respect him, and I think that what he does is good for the world. But I really kind of want him and others to really play chess and not checkers, and to just understand that no matter who you're sitting with, if they're doing nothing for you, then then nothing is being gained from that interaction. That is not a healthy meeting. So anyway, let me keep going. So he basically says, because as long as I've lived, I've learned that it benefits a man nothing at all to gain the world if he must lose his soul. Okay, so you're talking about soul. You're talking about something that's almost like an emotional way of kind of looking at this. Like, how dare you sit next to him? This is, this ain't cool. This is, you're giving up your pride and your dignity. And I can understand that. I used to think that way too. I used to think that, that pride issue kind of mattered. And I do have pride. But I think that, perhaps another way we should look at this is to go deeper than just making it about ego and about pride, and instead making it about results, right? So here's the thing: you had a whole string of Negroes running up in there meeting with Obama for 8 straight years. I'm talking about they could have had a Negro parade with all the damn celebrities they had going up into the White House taking pictures with Obama. I'm talking about a parade. Now, I need you to tell me about any situations where, please tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me about any situations where they came out of these meetings and said, I sat with the president, I demanded that he deal with the unemployment issue, and we got him to sign legislation that is going to deal with this issue on black unemployment. Or we sat and we talked about incarceration, because it doesn't make any sense that so many African Americans are being locked away for no reason. And we made a deal on that. Now, a guy like a Farrakhan, I believe, would have got that done. I think that Obama probably would have had a hard time just getting a photo op meeting with a Farrakhan. But most of these celebrities just wanted to be seen in a picture with Obama because they thought that shit was cool. They thought it was like the coolest thing. So what I would say to T.I. is not so much that he's wrong to have his feelings about Kanye West. I want to challenge and say, what should he have been doing, and what would have benefited the community the most? Okay, so you're saying, okay, Kanye should never have gone to the meeting. Okay, so when the Democrats come around, are you going to skip that meeting too? Or are you going to go to that meeting as if somehow the Democrats are better for you than the Republicans? Because here's the thing. Have black people collectively benefited much under Trump? No, they haven't. But they probably haven't benefited more under Trump than they did under Obama. And that's the problem that you have. That's the problem that you have. So at the end of the day, I kind of think it's unfortunate. I think that we have people that literally have been convinced to believe that being black is synonymous with being a Democrat. Now, there's another person who made some comments about it, Shaun King. Shaun King is kind of a textbook liberal. He's a great guy, though. Love Shaun King. Love what Shaun King does on the issues of, drawing attention to racism, police brutality. I think that's excellent work. I think Shaun should probably do a little bit more in terms of doing things that will clearly empower black people. Instead of being reactive to things that other people do to us, be proactive in terms of building things so that people can't do those things in the first place. Remember, Dr. Claude Anderson, I love bringing him in because Dr. Claude Anderson actually gives you a plan. Most people don't give you a plan. Most prominent black people don't give you a plan. All they do is the only plans they'll give you is to vote or to protest. So you spend your whole life voting, and it doesn't make a bit of goddamn difference. And you're protesting, which means you're standing outside the institution screaming like a little bitch, begging people to care about you. When they've shown you for 200 years that they don't give a damn about what happens to you. So you tell me what the plan is. I don't see any plans. So Claude Anderson, what I like about him is Claude Anderson had a proactive plan. Claude Anderson said, look, first you build an economic base, support black businesses, create your own jobs, and educate your own kids. Then the next step, I think the next step up was you then take the money from the businesses and you buy the politicians. Votes don't mean shit in America. America is not a democracy. Let me make that clear. Let me repeat that to you.
Yeah, repeat
Go see
that.
Michael Moore's movie Fahrenheit 11/9 if you don't understand. Voting doesn't mean anything because America is not a democracy. Stop thinking that you live in a democracy. You do not live in a democracy. If you lived in a democracy, how is it that, and I'm looking at different people, I see my friends on Facebook here and my friends on Instagram, so I'm literally looking you in the eye, talking to you. Christy, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Is that Shativia and Karen and Nathaniel? I'm talking directly to you right now. If you had a democracy, why is it that the person who gets the most votes doesn't usually get to go to the White House? Like, if you have a democracy, then Hillary Clinton would have been in the White House because she got the most popular, she won the popular vote, right? George Bush got the White House without winning the popular vote, right? What happened was the Electoral College overrode the will of the people and put in who they wanted to put in. So you do not live in a democracy. If you lived in a democracy, then why is it that a corporation that has more money than you can actually have more political influence than you, even though they don't have more votes? Because dollar bills actually do the voting. The dollar bills are what moves the political needle.
What?
Why is it that the Asian community doesn't vote at all and they have more power than you? They got nail salons and shit in your neighborhood taking all your damn money and punching black women in the face at the same damn time. No, just ain't giving a fuck, right? Well, because they know how to bring together their power economically, and they use that economic power to control the political process. So Claude Anderson's plan was, he said, build an economic base, buy your politicians. That then affects, you can then affect the judges and the courts and the police. And then I think the next one, level up was education. You control the educational system that way by having your own system. Then there was another piece to it. I don't remember the fifth piece. Somebody remind me what the fifth piece was, so I don't say anything stupid. Oh goodness, I can't remember what number 5 was. He's gonna get mad at me for that. But anyway, those are the first 4. So y'all get what I'm saying here. You need a plan. Most activists, unfortunately,
you need
do not have
a plan.
a clear plan for true black empowerment. Most activists have a plan for screaming and hollering and reacting to what white people do. And if you know anything about competition, like if you think about sports, you can't really win in a basketball game if you are constantly reacting to what the other team did. If you're always playing defense and always waiting. 5 is media. How did I forget media? Oh my God, media. That's why I'm talking to y'all the way I'm talking to you now. That's why we have our platform. We reach a million black people a week.
5
because my number one goal in life has been to build media. We need our own media. We need media where we can reach people and give them information that they need to have. So media, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Who gave me that? Was that Chris? Chris S. Thank you, man. I'm gonna make you a moderator on my channel for doing that. I appreciate you, man. Because you say, maybe that's a she, because Chris is a cross-gender word, I guess. So the point of the matter is, at the end of the day, we need a plan. Most of the people that will criticize Kanye don't have really any better alternatives. Their solution is, just sit back, be mad, stay away from Trump, don't talk to him, and continue to suffer and continue to react and bitch and scream every time a white person calls you a nigga. I don't really care what a toothless redneck thinks about me as a person. It has no effect on my self-esteem or my self-perception. I personally suggest that you consider letting go of all of that and stop worrying about all of that and focus instead on building. Focus on building.
Right.
You build by working within your own family. You get them damn babies educated. We got too many of these little kids growing up can't read and shit.
Man.
Black kids. Do you know that the average black male is like in the bottom 20th percentile on math and reading? Actually, average black child, period, male and female, bottom 20th percentile. You can't compete if your average child is in the bottom 20th percentile. Well, why aren't we teaching these kids to read when they come home? Why aren't we? Why your kids know more about media takeout than they know about anything that's ever been in a book? Why are they spending more time watching BET and all this other nonsense when they're spending doing the things they need to do? Why are they spending more time on the football field than that little boy spend to learn how to start a business? Right?
Wow.
So start with your household That's your empire, and it don't matter who's in the White House. Trump could make himself king, and literally be in the White House for the next 80 years. And I guarantee you that if you educate the shit out of your kids, if you you teach them how to grind and how to get money and how to build institutions and start businesses, and teach them how to have discipline and make smart decisions and support other black people and work together with their own family members, your family's gonna be fine. Your family will be fine. The only people that won't be fine are the people who are subjected to brainwashing. Right? The people who are subjected to brainwashing struggle. Those who aren't, those who can break out of that and think on their own, usually do quite well. All right. So
Free
anyway,
thinkers.
Do this. Follow me on Twitter if you want to. You can go to drboystwitter.com if you want to follow me on Twitter. That's drboystwitter.com. Also, don't forget intelligentblackpeople.com if you want to be a patron of this channel. I am asking you to subscribe because this is something that's different from anything else that you see in media. And also hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button. And let me show you guys. Let me bring back Kanye. Let me bring back my friend Kanye, and let's finish what he had to say because we didn't actually go through the whole text of what he said. He went on for a minute, so about 7-8 minutes. So let's see.
Superman cape. For me, also as a guy that looks up to you, looks up to Ralph Lauren, looks up to American industry guys. Non-political, no bullshit, put the beep on it, however you want to do it, 5 seconds delay, and just goes in and gets it done. Right now, you gave me the heart to go to Adidas, because at Adidas, when I went in 2015, we were a $14 billion company, losing $2 billion a year. Now we have a $38 billion market cap. It's called the Yeezy effect. And I went to Casper. We had a meeting in Chicago, and I said, you have to bring manufacturing onshore, not even shore, into the core. It's not about the borders, the core of Adidas. And Chicago is the core of Middle America. We have to make Middle America strong. So I had the balls, because I have enough balls to put on this hat. I mean, this Adidas thing made me a billionaire, and I could have lost $200 million walking away from that deal. But even with that, I knew it was more important for me to take the chance of walking away from that deal than to have no fathers in Chicago with no homes. And when we do have prison reprobation, because it's habilitation, not rehabilitation, because we didn't have the abilities in the first place. We never had anyone that taught us. We didn't teach us. Exactly, we had no one that taught us, right?
Okay, let me pause it right there. Kanye's a little weird. There ain't nobody questioning that. He's saying things in a weird way.
Right.
But what I want you to hear is a couple of things what he's saying. He's talking about, having balls and doing business. He's talking about, how he felt in his own experience that hanging out with guys like the Trumps and whoever else made him just realize, like, wait a minute, I can go out here and I can build my company. I can actually compete. There's something to that. Before Trump actually got into politics and everything became so polarized, I did read his book a long time ago, The Art of the Deal. And I encourage anybody who really wants to kind of see the whole picture, go watch an unbiased documentary on Donald Trump. And what you'll find is a guy who, again, probably has a mental illness. He's narcissist. They're very narcissist, but he's always had balls. When he was 28, 30 years old, he was out doing $300-400 million deals. Now, a lot of money did come from his father. He got a lot of influence from his father. His father helped him out in a lot of situations, but there were a lot of things that he did, on his own. I see a lot of kids that have hundreds of millions of dollars, parents worth, $500 million, who don't accomplish anything. Right, who just sit back and they drive Lamborghinis and they sit around with a bunch of money. Trump was actually out making moves, and there was a type of confidence that was actually interesting in the sense that, I saw him overcome situations where most of the black men that I know would have folded. They would have gave up. They would have said, oh, well, racism stopped me, or they don't like me, so that's why I gave up. That's why I quit. And one of the things that I think we got to be cautious about is that liberal ideology, that Democratic Party thinking, what it does is it gives you, it takes an able-bodied young black man and feminizes the shit out of him at an early age and weakens him and gives him a crutch when he's a baby. And when you are given a crutch in a wheelchair when you're a baby, you never take the time to learn how to walk. So rather than
Facts.
learning about all the great things that we could do if we're in a dog-eat-dog type situation, like I talk to me and Andre Hatchett, we do this a lot in Black Men United. We're talking about black men competing and fighting and getting out here, starting companies, and who gives a shit if they like you or not? Let's go out here and let's make this happen. You don't get that much for black men, except for on the football field or the basketball court. The football field and the basketball court is the only space in which black men are positioned to be competitive and to fight like hell, even if the other side is cheating. But I've seen guys who I have identified as athletes, and they'll get on the court and they'll fight like hell, but then they get out in the real world and they shrivel up like little bitches. They shrivel up. The confidence just ain't there. They're scared to death. Because they're thinking about, well, they're racist. They don't like me. They don't want me here. Who cares if they want you? You'll never be in a competitive situation where your opposition wants you around. They don't want you around. They don't want you competing. They don't like you. They're not going to tell you that you're pretty. They're going to try to kill you, right? And I think that as black men, we don't get to see that much. And I think for Kanye, it almost seems like he's feeling something from his masculinity that's saying, I'm listening to the Democrats, and the Democrats are telling me that because I'm black, I can't do nothing. Because of racism, I can't do anything on my own. Because they don't like me, I can't ever accomplish anything. Because I'm a little black boy from the hood, I can't ever really do anything that will allow me to compete on the same level as a Donald Trump. And so what you get here, for example, that's a little different in terms of how I talk. This is why I piss people off. I piss off the liberals. Is I don't really like Donald Trump. He doesn't like me. But he doesn't care that I don't like him. I don't care that he doesn't like me.
Facts.
All I care about, the only thing I care about, is rather than working for his approval, which I could care nothing about.
Nothing.
What I care about is making sure that your children are prepared to compete with Donald Trump's kids. When his kids are 40 and your baby is 40, is your child going to be able to stand head to head, toe to toe, have some wealth, have some power, have some knowledge, some understanding, own an institution and fight back, or at least maintain their independence? Or they have to show up like the Democrats tell you with their hand out begging for some fucking affirmative action and shit. Sir, can I, if you have no penny, a hay penny will do. If you have no hay penny, then God bless you. You remember that? Remember that song? like literally looking like Tiny Tim and shit. Yeah, black man looking like Tiny Tim. You ever see that guy that played for the Kansas City Chiefs, the wide receiver? And he was dying for a white man to hire him with the Chiefs, to hire him to catch a football, and they wouldn't put him on the team. So this big, strong, buck-ass black man, looking like a big Mandingo warrior, big muscles, was standing outside the stadium with a sign up saying, "We'll run routes for food."
Wow.
We'll run routes for food. A wide receiver, big, strong black man, 6'4", 220 pounds, of probably 10% body fat, was standing outside this white man's stadium with a sign saying, "We'll run routes for food," looking like a goddamn beggar. What the hell is that? And
what
you know
is
what
it?
would have happened? The liberals would have been like, that's right. You protest. You protest, Tyrone. The racism's wrong. They're doing you wrong.
No.
It's hard for a black man. If the white people aren't nicer to you, then you can't ever accomplish anything. Right? Who wants that? Who wants to live in a world like that? Who wants that? I know I don't. You ain't never gonna see me out there sitting outside some white man's business begging him to give me an opportunity. You will never see that from me. What the hell, man? And that's the problem. That's the issue with the liberals. Liberals don't have a pathway to true black empowerment. They have no pathway to true black empowerment. Liberals, Democrats, the far left, they're deeply connected, unfortunately, to a lot of socialism and communism. Socialism and communism is typically built around the idea that business owners are inherently evil. That industry and anything that even looks a little bit like capitalism is just a bad thing. So when I go and I talk to people in the deep liberal establishment in the far left about, black people being empowered by starting businesses and us developing our own institutions, they don't like that. They're like, no, we need government programs. I'm like, why the fuck am I going to wait for a government program from a bunch of white people who don't even like me? You know how racist this government is? I literally will be a skeleton sitting around waiting for white people to decide to help me out. To hell with that. Is that your only solution? is government programs. Are you serious?
Mm.
Let me keep going. Oh, another great point Kanye made. Let me give Kanye props on this point. He talked about bringing manufacturing back to the Midwest. He talked about, it's something that I hope that they really do
Thank you
this.
for
I don't know if
addressing
they're ever
that.
going to do this or not. Again, politicians lie. Trump has said he's going to try to do it. I don't know if he is or not. But, he brought up the fact that a lot of black folks in Chicago don't have jobs because people like Clinton signed NAFTA, which sent millions of jobs to Mexico. So
Mm.
what happened as a result of Clinton signing the NAFTA bill and sending millions of jobs to Mexico is that the Midwest got gutted. You ever been to the parts of like Milwaukee, or what the hell is it? Milwaukee, Gary, Indiana, and other
Indianapolis,
cities that used to be booming. Detroit used to be booming when there were
Motor City.
manufacturing jobs. Those jobs are gone. They are gone. So Kanye is making a good point when he brings that up. He talks about Chirac became Chirac because while you were, think about this, they had Clinton solved what he probably saw as a slave problem. Lincoln had the same problem. The problem was we got all these damn free black people. They ain't got no skills. We don't want them in the workforce because we don't want them competing with us. What the hell do we do with them? So what they did was they took the 13th Amendment. They had this little loophole that said you can be made a slave if you get convicted of a crime. So they started convicting them all of crimes so they can make them slaves again. Well, in 1996, when Clinton signs NAFTA and the whole Midwest is gutted, all the jobs are in Mexico, you got the same problem, the slave problem. You got all these black people out here, no skill because the education system sucks, the public schools suck. We don't want them competing for the jobs because there aren't that many jobs available. So, how do we put them to work? Well, we put them to work in the penitentiaries. We put them to work in the prisons because they can go to prison and they will do a job that we used to have to pay them $30, $40 an hour for, but now we can pay them $1, $2, $5 a day,
That part.
right? And guess what? Corporations get rich off of this, right? That's kind of the whole plan. In fact, there were politicians that even told companies like Nike, like they said, look, stop sending all your stuff overseas to be manufactured. You can manufacture it cheaper here in the United States because we got all these prison inmates that will work for $1 a day.
Mm.
See, so you got to kind of see the whole game and how it's played.
Companies
Kanye
like
ain't
Nike.
totally crazy. I'm not trying to say Kanye is like a great guy and that he's perfect. He's not. Kanye's complex. He's a little weird. And he's definitely trying to get attention. He's trying to get attention for his album. We know all of that, right?
Right.
A lot of this is promotional. His antics are designed to be naturally outrageous, but at the same time, it's not totally ignorant. So let me keep going.
That's all I'm saying.
So it's more important than any specific deal, anything that we bring jobs into America and that we provide a transition with mental health and the American education curriculum that Jim has worked on. Larry Hoover also has a curriculum that he's worked on. We have Montessori curriculum.
Now, did you pay attention? He just gave props to Jim Brown and Larry Hoover. Kanye has not lost all of his blackness. Larry Hoover, one of the most notorious gangsters out here, he's giving props to Larry Hoover. Now, and why is that a problem? Well, it's a problem because the Democrats care more about maintaining the whole public school system and the whole government-based system than they actually care about elevating and educating black people. So when you talk about alternatives that are, educational alternatives like Montessori schools or other curricula that are going to make sure kids are properly educated, what they do is they go back, and this is where, unfortunately, if Shaun King and others are not careful, they can get sucked into this crap. They get back to this whole conversation saying, well, no, what we need to do is support the public schools. Well, you can try to support the public schools all day, but if I'm a parent and I'm sending my child to the shitty public school down the street and my baby's not learning how to read, I don't want my child in a crappy school. I don't care about your whole conversation about the privatization of schools. The privatization of schools is not inherently evil. It's only that whole liberal, socialist, communist influence that leads you to somehow try to argue that anything that's privatized must be bad. That is simply just not true. Black people got locked into the communism thing because that was kind of the foundation of the people that were giving us support back when we needed them during the civil rights movement. That's what that's all about. So when they were accusing Dr. King of being a communist, that wasn't totally off base. Now, again, the problem though is that there's nothing wrong with being a communist. It's not a crime. It's not a bad thing. But the thing is that you have to be open to ideologies that work for you. You have to take the time to figure out, okay, what am I going to be? I'm not going to let anybody tell me what I am. So I'll give you an example. When I was in Chicago, I got a call from these people who said, "Oh, we're holding a protest on police brutality." And I said, "Okay, great. I'd love to participate." And they said, "Yeah, we know Cornel West told us to call you." And I said, "Yeah, I love Cornel West. Whatever Cornel West needs, he has my support." So I go and I show up to this rally from these people who were friends of Cornel West, right? Because they used his name to get my attention. What I did not realize was that at this, in this gathering, I was being recruited to the Communist Party. And I was sort of like, look, I'm sorry. I appreciate what y'all doing. Good luck to you. But I told the Democrats to kiss my ass. I told the Republicans to kiss my ass. And I'm going to tell the Communists to kiss my ass. I'm black first. That's what I am. So if you're doing something that connects to what I believe in, then I'll support you. But I'm not getting behind this whole other bunch of ideas that have nothing to do with the reason that I'm here. I'm here because I believe that the police brutality issue is wrong, and Cornel West is a friend, and I support him. But I'm not here to become all of this and to become your political animal, to become somebody that you can ride, as like a jockey, to the finish line. I'm not that guy. I'm here to represent black people first, period. So ultimately, I think that we have to be cautious because
that's going to be my next shirt.
Are often used by many people in various political establishments as tools and puppets to achieve their own agenda, which is not your agenda. It's not the agenda of people who are overcoming the effects of slavery. So Shaun King, T.I., whoever, if you are telling me Kanye is a coon for sitting down with Trump, then just be careful because somebody could call you a coon if you're sitting down with the Democrats. So just keep that in mind. I'm not calling them coons because I respect both of these guys, but I'm just saying, look, you're throwing rocks and you're living in kind of a glass house. So let's.
We worked on WeWorks has a beautiful curriculum. The Waldorf establishment has a curriculum. We have meditation. There's a lot of things affecting our mental health that meditation. Crazy things that puts us back into that trap door called the 13th Amendment. I did say abolish with the hat on because why would you keep something around that's a trap door? If you build in a floor, the Constitution is the base of our industry, right? Of our country, of our company. Would you build a trap door that if you mess up and you accidentally something happens, you fall and you end up next to the Unabomber? You got to remove all that trap door out of the relationship. The four gentlemen that wrote the 13th Amendment, and I think the way the universe works is perfect. We don't have 13 floors, do we? So the four gentlemen that wrote the 13th Amendment didn't look like the people they were amending. Also, at that point, it was illegal for blacks to read or African Americans to read. And so that meant if you actually read the amendment, you get locked up and turned to a slave. Again, so what I think is we don't need sentences, we need pardons. We need to talk to people. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was connected with a neuropsychologist that works with the athletes in the NBA and the NFL. And he looked at my brain. It's equal on 3 parts. I'm going to go ahead, drop some bombs for you. 98 percentile IQ test. I had a 75 percentile of all human beings, but it was counting 8 numbers backwards off the repeat. So I'm going to work on that one. The other one's 98%. Tesla, Freud. So he said that I actually wasn't bipolar. I had sleep deprivation, which could cause dementia 10 to 20 years from now, where I wouldn't even remember my son's name. So all this power that I got, and I'm taking my son to the Sox game and all that, I wouldn't be able to remember his name from a misdiagnosis. And what we need is we can empower the pharmaceuticals and make more money. That's one thing. I've never stepped into a situation where I didn't make people more money. So we can empower pharmaceuticals. We can empower our industries. We can empower our factories. We can bring not only Adidas on shore, we could bring Foxconn to set up a factory in, I think, Minnesota. 53,000.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin. They have 4,000 jobs, people making $53,000 a year. And one of the things we got to set is Ford to have the highest design, the dopest cars, the most amazing. I don't really say dope. to try to flip them. We just say positive, lovely, divine, universal words. So the fly is
positive affirmations.
Most amazing car. And what we want to start with is I brought a gift with me right here.
So get rid of Air Force One. Can we get rid of Air Force One?
Flyest planes, the best factory.
Okay. Kanye's talking about redesigning Air Force One and all this other stuff. So yeah, that's the crazy Kanye. He's kind of going off on a lot of weird tangents that don't make a lot of sense to me. So he probably didn't take his medication that day. You know, he's an interesting guy. But let me pluck out the parts that I think we need to talk about as Black people. First thing I think that we need to do is understand that we don't benefit when we all support the same candidates in the same party in lockstep all the time. We just don't benefit that way.
Okay.
Only way we can do that is the only way we can benefit by supporting the same person is if we're willing to jump back and forth into different parties. So, as Dr. Anderson said, deciding that we have a Black political party and that we're going to vote as a block, and then forcing them to earn our vote by saying, look, we are open to all ideas. We are open to all possibilities. You need to impress us. That's how we get power.
Absolutely.
Think about it like basketball. If I come down the basketball court and you know that every single time I come down the court, I'm going to go to the right and take a 3-point shot, then you can easily defend me. You can easily stop me, right? The only way I can actually make it hard for you to defend me is if I come down the court and you don't know what I'm going to do.
That's
like Kevin Durant, for example, one of the greatest scorers in the NBA. He's very hard to guard because Kevin Durant might go right and take a 3-pointer. He might go left and take a 3-pointer. He might take it to the basket. He might scoot in a little further and do a pull-up jump shot. He might pass the ball, right? He has a lot of different options. See, so the key to freedom.
I got options, baby.
Freedom in one word, it comes down to options. So in your own life, not just with Kanye and politics and all, but in your own life, if you ever want to figure out, am I free or am I not free? You need to look at every sector of your life and say, do I have options? If you have options, then you are free. If you have no options, then you're not free. So when it comes to supporting Democrats versus Republicans, we're not free because we somehow are in the space where we believe, we're in a space where we believe that we all have to be Democrats. So if you go out and you're Black and you say, I want to be a Republican this time because I like their platform, or I want to be independent this time, and Black people are saying, oh, no, you can't do that. You a sellout. Well, those are not people that want you to be free. Those are not free Black people. Free Black people are people who say, look, I'm going to do what the hell I want to do in this particular situation. And next time I might do something different, depending on how your ass act. If your ass don't act right, then I might do some shit you ain't even planned on. Right? It's all about having, actually political theorists refer to this as credible threats. You must have a credible threat in order to have influence in a negotiation. So, for example, if you talk about, you ever seen a situation where maybe there's a guy who's with a woman, and the woman, he's disrespecting her, and he doesn't appreciate her, and he talks shit about her, and she's the greatest woman in the world, but he doesn't know it, and so he just completely disrespects her, right?
Like
and
a lot of men.
She's like, I'm a great woman. Look at all the stuff I do for you. I do so much more for you than your ex. Ain't no woman out here gonna do the stuff I do. You need to be nice to me, right? And she's saying all this, but he ain't listening. It's going in one ear and out the other, right? Well, why is that? Well, because he might be thinking, look, she gonna come in here and bitch and scream and moan, but she ain't really gonna leave. She ain't going nowhere, right? She ain't going nowhere. Right? So
like
she can
most
even
women
threaten to
don't.
leave, and if he don't believe her, then he's gonna be like, okay, yeah, whatever, just shut up, sit down. I'm gonna go watch TV, right? Now imagine if one day he comes home from work and her shit is packed and she's gone, and he's in the house like, where you at? And he calls her and says, like, baby, where you at? You were supposed to be here at 5 o'clock. And she's like, no, I packed my stuff. I'm at my mom's house. I'm gone. I'm out of here. And then she says, and I also put down a deposit on a new apartment, and so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get it. You told me that I wasn't good enough or whatever. So rather than trying to prove it to you and argue with you, I'm just gonna go ahead and just leave.
You better go, bitch.
Affect his behavior. He's not gonna do the same thing he'd been doing if he really loves that woman.
That
if he really
part
wants to earn that woman, and he knows that now she's gone. And now, in fact, she's dating the guy she used to know in college, or she's going to go meet him for lunch. Oh, he'll be at her door with roses in a minute.
Right.
He'll be baby, please. He'll be doing a whole Keith Sweat video on her front porch.
You better tell him, Dr.
How
Boyce.
much he's so sorry and all this other stuff, right? He's gonna change his behavior because she's presented him with a credible threat. So, ladies, just listen. If you want that guy to pay attention to you,
ladies,
show him you got options and that you're not scared to use them.
That part, ladies.
You're not scared to use them. You got a gun and you ain't scared to squeeze the trigger.
That part, ladies.
Knows you scared to squeeze the trigger, they're never gonna take you serious.
That's the most important part, ladies.
You're too scared to shoot. So
get that gun. Don't be afraid to squeeze that trigger, ladies.
We got the gun, and we ain't scared to squeeze this trigger. We got options. We ain't scared to use them. So if you want to know why I tend to lean in favor of saying, go ahead, Kanye, be you. Be you. You're crazy. Just be you. The reason I say that is because Kanye might be the freest black man in this country right now. He might be the freest black man in America. Because everybody else is scared to simply be who they are. They're scared to tell the truth. The celebrities were scared to tell Obama, like, man, what you doing ain't really helping nobody. Ain't no black people benefiting. We put all this weight behind you, and you ain't even, you act like we don't even matter. They were scared of him. And when Russell Simmons and I did that letter, we wrote a letter to Obama to ask the administration to shift their incarceration policy. Valerie Jarrett, Obama's little sidekick, his little mini-me, went at Russell really, really hard. Me, they didn't really mess with me too much because they knew I was off the ranch. I'm just too smart to fall for your bullshit. I don't fall for your Jedi mind tricks and shit. I don't care about sitting at a table with the president. None of that. So they didn't really mess with me, but they messed with Russell because Russell was part of that celebrity insider space. He's an entertainer. I can see that. And I give Russell credit for the fact that Russell stood strong. Russell said to Valerie Jarrett, look, I like you. I love Obama. I want to be friends. But there are black people dying in prison right now, and we have to address that. He stuck to his guns, and for the rest of my life, I will give that man credit for the fact that he stood strong when they tried to put the heat on him. And in that letter that we sent to the president, a lot of people signed that letter, including Kanye West. Kanye, all the little Kardashians, I don't know these people. Russell knew these people. The civil rights leaders signed it. A lot of people signed it. And you know what happened was when they saw that kind of solidarity coming forth in favor of black people, and they knew that it was uncompromising, they changed their tune. Eric Holder made the most significant anti-incarceration announcement in the history in the last 25 years. The presidents or the executive branch had not made an announcement on incarceration that was that significant since the 1970s. And that was because they saw us come together. They saw that we weren't budging. They saw that a lot of celebrities as well as activists were working together on this. And I give Russell credit for that. I got a lot of people's signatures, but Russell knew all the rappers and stuff. He got all the connects. From Rick Ross to Lil Wayne and people like that. He is the plug. And that's what made them move.
Russell is the plug.
So what I'm trying to say is that, and this was a learning experience for me, I got a chance to kind of see, that basically when it comes to politics, even with your friends, if they don't think you have any power, they will not respect you. So the Democrats don't respect black people because they think you have no power, and they don't think you're willing to even use the power that you actually have.
You do have.
So that's it. That's my take on Kanye. I wish T.I. and Shaun King wouldn't be so quick. In fact, let me go ahead. I'm gonna read what Shaun King said.
Please do, because I didn't read what he said.
Hit the share button, subscribe button, and the like button, and all that stuff.
Full video will be on the page.
My book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. You can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. That book is kind of a good summary of kind of how I think about all this stuff. It's kind of almost like a manifesto or something. I don't know. It's been downloaded about 100,000 times. So hopefully some of you are reading it with your kids. So go to drboycewatkins.net, and you can get the book totally for free. It doesn't cost you anything. So feel free to download that. All right. So Shaun King says, after saying that the MAGA hat gives me superpowers, then saying he was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder, Kanye said he loves Trump so much and rushed to give him a hug. Now, let me tell you what's happening with that first statement. And this is something I think Shaun King needs to be careful about. What you're kind of doing is you're doing what liberal and Democratic bullies kind of do. What they try to do, because they're caping for the Democrats, they're trying to keep these oppressors in office, they will go and discredit somebody who disagrees with them by saying things about the person that will taint your point of view
Oh.
before you even hear what they have to say.
Okay.
Now, I told y'all that we all know Kanye crazy. We know that dude's, kind of off his rocker. But I said at the
So
same
is
time, I said,
Einstein.
let's analyze what he said point by point so we can toss out the crazy and keep the good stuff, right? Keep the stuff that might actually make sense, right? Shaun King's not doing it. Shaun King literally, first thing he jumps to is Kanye's comment about giving me superpowers. Yeah, that sounded a little bit weird, but why is that the focal point? The man talked for 10 minutes. Why are you focusing on one thing that he said? And then the bipolar disorder. So what he's basically saying is, this is a crazy ass dude who has a mental illness, right? So don't listen to anything that he has to say at this point. That's what they do. Pay attention, people. Pay attention. That's what liberals are very good at. They're very good at attacking and discrediting and undermining before you take a second to even hear another point of view. They're literally like the cops. They're like, nothing to see here. Like when they shoot a black man, oh, don't worry, folks, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. And I'm like, no, wait. Let me see what's going on. Like, what did he say? Tell me what he said. Let me make my own decision. They're not doing that. That's what a pimp does. So that's what a pimp does. That's how pimps handle their hoes, right? Like, look, bitch, just get back in the car, get back on the corner, go make me some money. I'm gonna go handle this, right? So literally, by him pointing out the two parts of Kanye's 10-minute speech that basically make him look like a lunatic, that happens all the time. We're trying to think. I remember when Cornel West had a very long and very broad critique of the Obama administration. A very, very elegant critique. Sometimes he said stuff that he probably misspoke. He said some stuff that I wouldn't have said. But a lot of what he said made sense. In order to avoid dealing with the issue, because they didn't want to deal with the issue because they couldn't. They didn't have a response. They only pointed to one thing. They said, oh, this nigga mad because his mama didn't get tickets to the inauguration. That's literally what they pointed to. That's literally, so I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. Oh, this very intelligent man has gone out of his way to give a very eloquent analysis of a very important issue, a detailed analysis. And all you remember is the fact that he wanted tickets for his mama to the inauguration, and you literally make that the foundation of everything you say. So what they're basically doing is they're saying, he's crazy, don't listen to him, because it's much easier for me to discredit you than it is for me to debate you. You understand? So
Hello.
They don't want to debate. They don't want to, because they know that they're pimping you. They know it. Like the pimp knows, the pimp knows that he's controlling the hoes, and he don't want his hoes thinking too much.
Right.
So the Democrats, they discredit immediately. Another example of a quick discredit. There was I heard somebody came to me with like some really interesting stuff. Y'all remember that black woman who ran up on the White House and she allegedly drove into the fence and they had to shoot her and kill her? Well, somebody came to me with a whole elaborate kind of backstory to this that I was not aware of. Now, I'm not going to talk about it because I need to research it a little bit more. But I remember being intrigued, and it sounded almost credible. They said a lot of stuff that you didn't actually see in the media, and I remember that when it happened though, and her family was pissed. Their family was pissed that basically they labeled her as a crazy woman who just drove into the White House fence, when apparently there was a whole lot more there than what the media was letting on. So a lot of times, even the people that claim to be your friends will only tell you part of the story. They deliberately restrict critical information from black people
Part of the
because they
story.
do not want you thinking outside the box. That's why when one rapper that went on to onto one of the black radio stations, one of the Radio 1 stations, literally said to me, I think it was a Radio 1 station, it might have been a different one, but he literally said to me, he said, they told me that you cannot even mention Bernie Sanders on the air. Do not even say his name. And I'm like, why would they not want you to say his name? Because they don't want black people to vote for him, because they feel like he's a competitor to Hillary Clinton. Why? Well, because he was a better choice. He was a better option. Right. So anyway, let me keep going. But that's what pimps do. Pimps be pimping. That's their profession.
Pimps be pimping. That's what they supposed to do.
You need to ask yourself, why are you being the hoe? Why are you signing up to be the hoe every time? When really you know what they're doing to you. So
Why
anyway,
are you being the hoe?
Because I'm not trying to be a hoe. All right, anyway, let's see. So here's what Shaun King
I'm not
said.
trying to be a hoe either.
The MAGA hat gives me superpowers, then saying he was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder. Kanye said he loves Trump so much and rushed to give him a hug. And then now listen to this. This is interesting. This kind of bothers me because I like Shaun, right? And I don't even like criticizing him, but I'm just gonna break it down. Like dude, get out of that liberal box. That does not help you. Like, be a black man. Be a black man. Stand up for black people. Stop being a goddamn fucking like little pet monkey for the Democratic Party. Like, stop it. Like, that does not help you. You are strong enough to be strong on your own without needing to cape for these white liberals who want to send black men to prison and accuse black men of rape when they don't have any evidence. You can't do
That
that.
part
Stop it. So
right there.
all right. So am I? Did I mess up? Okay. She was giving me a funny look, which was making me think that maybe I said something crazy. Sometimes I do that. All right, you gotta listen to a black woman. If you're a black man and you're talking like me, and the black woman you love like tells you like like cut it, you gotta pay attention. But she wasn't doing that. She was actually saying she could hear what I'm saying. Okay, good. All right. So anyway, let me keep going. Let me read this. So Shaun King, he then says this. Now pay attention to this. Listen to this. He says 14,000 immigrant children are currently detained in modern day internment camps. I 14,000 immigrant children. Are you an immigrant? How many African American people do you know that are immigrants that are detained in internment? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's bad. It's very, very bad. There's lots of bad things happening all throughout the world.
True.
But don't you think it's kind of interesting that they'll talk about the immigrant kids in the camps, but they don't say shit about all the black kids, the millions of black kids that have been separated from their parents for 20 years because they took their parents away
In
to
the
prison?
foster system.
Like really? Like, if you were to say something like 14,000 immigrant children plus another 1.4 million African American children are separated from their parents because their parents were sent to prison by Bill Clinton in the 1990s.
What?
He was calling black people super predators. Then you got
What?
my respect.
Right.
You expect me to feel bad for some immigrant kids being separated from their parents for 2 weeks when they're not even supposed to be in the country? They're violating federal law.
To begin with.
But I can't have no sympathy for my own damn people? Something wrong with you. You crazy as Kanye West. Maybe Kanye's not the crazy one. Maybe your ass is the crazy one because you're sitting here ignoring what's happening
Damn
to millions
it.
of people so you can focus
I
on
wasn't ready for that one.
14,000 is a very tiny number compared to 40 million. So I'm not saying you can't focus on the 14,000, but you start with the 40 million and then you work your way down. Excuse me. Maybe on the list of issues that black people have, we start with our shit at the top, and
right.
we go down our top 20 or top 30 list.
That part.
When we get down to the bottom,
right.
We get to section,
section
Q,
shit.
and we talk about
right.
shit that we might get to if we ever
right.
have $1 trillion and have plenty of free time to go solve other people's fucking problems.
Right.
Then we get down to this issue with the illegal immigrants.
That part.
I'm sorry, but I'm not a black man. You will never see me as a black man out here fighting harder for illegal immigrants than they would ever fight for us. You will never see me as a black man fighting harder for illegal immigrants than I'm going to fight for my own people. You will never have me sitting here saying that it should be okay for somebody from another country to violate federal law and break into the country when I got homies and friends and loved ones who've been locked up, getting raped in prison and shit
for
they
years.
Violated federal laws. You can't. No,
that part.
That would make me stupid and it would make me insane. So seriously, call out Kanye for being bipolar if you want to, but you're sounding kind of mentally ill right now, bro. You need to let that shit go. Anyway, let me keep going. Trump called Colin Kaepernick and other NFL athletes sons of bitches. Okay. I don't agree with Trump on that. I think Colin Kaepernick and the other athletes are cool. But
right, I fuck with Cap.
He doesn't agree. He doesn't like what
I'm
doing.
with Cap.
Does that mean he hates all black people? That
no.
doesn't prove it. It doesn't prove he hates all black people. He doesn't like those sons of bitches over there.
Right.
Like somebody
over there.
Think about this. Most of y'all got a white person at your job that you can't stand. How
that
many of you
part.
have ever sat around and just talk mad shit about some white person that you hate at work? And you didn't refer to her like by her name as Cindy or Sally or Becky. You said, that old white bitch, she took my lunch, or or that old white man, he ain't shit. He got the promotion and I should have got it, right? How many of you have ever talked mad shit about a white person? That son of a bitch, I can't believe he did that, right? Oh.
I'm gonna stop it right there. The full video of Dr. Boyce will be on the page, on the Facebook page, on the I'll tweet it as well. A lot of really good points, and I just want you all to really pay attention, think for yourselves. Also, I would encourage you to, listen to the podcast first. Because, of course, I'm here to promote the podcast. So go check out the podcast. Um, Cutting Up is the name of the podcast. Go check out the podcast. It's on the Frat House Chronicles. And yeah, I mean, if you don't believe what I said on the Frat House Chronicles, then Dr. Boyce's this will be shared onto the page. All I'm saying is, I so I said what I said first, right? And then, because I watched the entire Kanye interview, I said what I said on the podcast, everything that I had to say regarding it, and then I went and listened to this today and was like, wow, I'm not the only one. That's what's up. So, yeah, I that's all I really have to say about that. Just think for yourself. At the end of the day, that's the bottom line. Is think for yourself. Don't let anybody put you inside a box. You were not meant to be boxed in. If you were, you would live in a box and be the shape of a box, and you're not. Everybody is individuals. Everybody is different, and I mean, the most that I got out of Kanye's whole rant was that we need to lead with love, and I said that to say, hit the like button if you received any kind of affirmation from this word. Share, subscribe, tell a friend or two, let people know to think for themselves. This is, if you don't like to think, if you want things that are easy and you don't want to work hard for them, then this is probably not for you. Um, but this is just, I like what he's saying because he really broke it down, you know, line by line. There was something else in Kanye's rant that I did want him to touch on, and he didn't mention anything about that. But one of the things that Kanye said that really resonated with me is damn, I wish I had the exact clip, but basically what he said was, if you don't own your own shit, then you're going to buy something that represents um that represents uh that symbol. So it's a symbolism thing. Kanye talked about symbolism in the rant, and that really, I'm gonna have to find the exact what he said, because it rhymed, and it was like uh names, if you don't have brands, if you don't have bands, you have brands, or so, I don't know, something like that. But I'm gonna go back and listen and find it, and I'll give that to y'all. But that to me was to talk about the symbolism, and that, I think that resonated with me the most, because he said, if you don't own your own stuff, then you buy stuff that symbolizes, what it could be, or what you could have. And so that's why people buy, Mercedes and Cadillac, and these signature items represent the brands that we want, but we'll never be able to acquire them. So and not acquire them in a sense of not acquire them in a sense of like we can't buy them, but just acquire them in a sense of true wealth. You'll never have true wealth because you're buying these labels and these brands to cover up, your true self, and because you don't have any ownership. and that was something that was he touched on that, and I was like, wow, he really, please speak on this, Kanye, because people are not hearing, what is going on. Like, these brands are symbolism of what, of what it could be, but what it's really not, and ownership. One of the things that I posted in, I guess um, post it to the, I'll post it to the page. Excuse me. I did a picture, and this was before the whole Kanye thing even happened. I forgot what I was listening to, but it was speaking about ownership, and ownership means own your shit. It's that simple. Ownership. Take ownership. Own your shit. Have ownership. Own your shit. Businesses, companies, investments. Own your shit. That's the only way that you're ever going to build wealth. And like I said, go ahead, subscribe. Um, Facebook, The Frat House Chronicles. Twitter, Cutting Up Podcast. YouTube, The Frat House Chronicles. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Do you, how do you feel about this now that it's been broken down? Did you have an opinion before and it's slightly altered, or what are your thoughts? Let me know what's going on, and I will see you when I see you.